everybody. Welcome to Pressed, where we talk about things that press us
and stress us.
I'm Hayley.
And I'm Kayli.
And I'm with child.
Surprise. Pregnancy announcement. Pregnancy reveal. This is our first YouTube video. She's pregnant.
Our first YouTube video? We have many other hits.
This is our... We'll put them up here.
But yes, I don't know if you can tell either by the title of the video or by Kayli's terrible look.
Thank you.
And her apocalyptic outerwear.
Yes.
And my sling that we are in the universe of The Quiet Place.
Yes. We should have learned sign language for this. I know a little bit. Like, how are you? You know, fine. Ooh. You know, mom, dad, come on.
I feel like it would be very helpful, honestly, in any scary movie to know sign language.
I know. Because all you really need, like, you don't have to talk. You don't have to make a noise. You could really just be like, where are we going? What are we doing? Call the police.
Plan?
Yes. So maybe this movie will shake things up for the rest of the scary movies out there. Truly. But yeah, that's what we're talking about today is A Quiet Place 2. And we'll touch on, the first one as well because it's the same exact story. But this was my first time going back to the movies since COVID hit.
Yes.
And can I say it was a terrible experience?
Really? Well, I went as well and it was okay. But you know how they have the souped up new ones that have the reclining seats?
Yes.
Well, we went to a theater. We had limited because we were kind of doing this like as a last minute family event. So we found a place and a good time and like one that was in between us. And we did the IMAX theater, but it was the little baby chairs all together. And oh my gosh, it just was very like, I was just like, no, like we're coming out of COVID. And I'm like, oh wow, look at us packed like sardines. Yeah. There's a lot of people.
Was there? Mm-hmm. What time did you go? Like in the evening?
Like 7. Yeah. It was like 7 on a Tuesday night. There was a lot of people in there, but it felt like old times.
Girl, I think me and Tristan made the mistake of going to a studio movie grill.
Don't ever, those little movie grills where they bring out the frozen pizza, they just heat it up in the oven.
Yep. It was not a good idea because like it's very noisy, obviously, because people are coming in and out, asking what you want, giving you refills. And like, I don't think anybody's really been in a movie theater since COVID. And so nobody knows how to act. So there's this girl in front of me who had finished her salad, but would not let go of it, bro. She was like scraping the bowl, like in the middle of A Quiet Place. It's quiet. I can hear that. She did that at least 4 times.
She's trying to get the rest of her Caesar salad.
It tastes way too good to waste. But yeah, it was annoying.
Also the type of movie. I feel like if you're going to eat in a movie, it has to be like Fast and Furious. Loud the whole time. No one has to worry about anybody. But literally A Quiet Place, even in the theater that we were in, where we weren't eating, it was so quiet. You could hear the crunch of a popcorn. Yeah. You could hear like a sneeze or a little, So I would agree. Yeah. It's definitely interesting for this movie because it definitely uses silence as a tense moment. And I'm sure it would have been very nice. But you saw it twice. So you went back to watch it again. I had to
because like literally I had no idea what was going on. I was like, why did she go to the train? What is she doing? Where is she going? I was so confused as to the major plot of this.
Because it was so loud?
Yes. Because
it was so disruptive. You did not understand the plot.
I did not know what was going on. And like towards the end, like, when they give you like your check, this guy comes out to me. Well, the guy who works there. And he is like, we don't take American Express. And I was like, okay. We don't have American Express.
Awesome. Great policy.
So I didn't know if he was just telling me just so I don't give it to him. He's like, okay, well, the card we ran came up as American Express. I was like, I didn't give you a card.
Sorry, I've yet to give you anything.
I was so confused. And so we had like a back and forth for like 2 minutes during the crucial part of the movie. And I was like, this is not a good time. Tristan was like, dude, he came at the wrong time. So, and then he kind of just threw down the check at me anyways. I was like, okay, well.
Well, usually when I've been, they take your card at the beginning.
That did not happen.
Yes, because they take the form of payment in the beginning so that at the end you're not whispering like and then you can't hear anything. But besides that, it was fun going back to the theater, honestly. And I do think this was a great movie for the theaters. And we'll get into what the director/writer thought about that.
I honestly feel like I don't miss the movies. I thought that I did, but this just solidified that I'd rather stay at home and watch the movies.
The second time, was it that bad?
It wasn't that bad, no. But like my thing is like I love subtitles. I love captions. I love being able to understand what I'm hearing. And like the main guy, what's his name? Like Emmett or something. Like, I felt like he mumbled the entire time. And I was like, I have no idea what the fuck he said. So that's where I was like, this is where watching movies at home is much more superior. And I didn't have to worry about some bitch like 2 rows down eating on her salad way too loud. So, you know, it would have been nice to pause, go to the bathroom, you know, live my life.
Anything.
So I don't know if I really will like go back to the movies as often as I used to.
What a shame. I love the movies.
R.I.P.
I'm excited to go back. I think that a lot of movies are really made for the theater. Especially because I know they've released some movies like HBO and Netflix. They've come out with movies. And although I think there's some fun movies just to watch at home, I do think that there are some movies that need to be watched in the theater, like this one. Because if you think about it, I don't think that it would have had the same effect because it had so much... It'd be very, very loud and then very, very quiet. So I feel like in your own home, unless you have like a bomb surround sound system and a media room.
Yeah, that's true.
Unlike me, I have like a little TV and I've turned it up to 100 and I can still barely hear it. So I feel like it kind of depends on the movie. Yeah. But something like this, I personally think needs to be seen in the movie.
Ooh, shh.
It's a quiet place. Honestly.
So I won't be watching your future children, huh?
No, I won't either. Okay. So would you like to get into it?
Did you want to say it? I thought you had another story.
I did have a side story, but I feel bad now that we're on video, you know.
So whatever.
Okay, anyway, so side story about my massage experience.
Oh.
So I decided to go get a massage recently. And I go to this one place to go get a massage. I've gotten there before and it's been perfectly fine, perfectly normal. And I usually pick this place because it has a lot of availability and I'm a very last minute person. I'm literally sitting there at work. I'm like, I want a massage today. So I find a place that has an availability. Yeah. A lot of places close early. So I'm like, today. That's why I went. I went one time. It was fine. Went back. And it's just, you know, I get there a little early. So I'm waiting in the waiting room and they're setting my room up. And then a guy comes out and he's just like, kind of talking a little loud, you know, whatever. And he ends up sitting down next to me and because he's waiting because one of the girls was like, oh, are your friends still in back there? Like your friends still getting massages? And I'm like, interesting. Not that men can't go on friendship dates to get a massage. I just made a mental note. I'm like, you know, usually when I go get a massage, I don't really see men, if any. And if I do, usually with like significant other.
A couple's massage.
Yeah, couple's massage. Okay. So then he comes out, sits down next to me. Then I guess his friend turns around the corner. His friend comes out. His friend's really loud. And his friend turns. And I think he thought I was one of them, like one of the group. Because he kind of talked at me and was like, oh, sorry. Like startled to see me there. And I was like, ooh. And I was like, hey, very interesting. Just a lot of man energy in here. I'm like, okay, whatever. Then I was sitting there again. Another man comes in. And one of the workers comes up and takes his hand. And then they go to the back. And I was like, that was particular. I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? So they go to the back. I'm like, ooh, you know, once again, men can absolutely get massages. Not what we're going for here. But, you know, I just did a little note. Mind you, all the workers are women.
Right.
No male workers.
Okay.
And I can also tell because on the website, there did not seem to be any male workers, at least name, you know, traditional names, seem like girl names. And I did not see a male worker there. So, okay, interesting. So I go into my room, and the room that I'm at is located at the front. Probably there. I put her at the front. And so I'm at the front and I can hear everything going on in the lobby and everything like that. And nothing but man voices. Some guy came in named Peter.
Did you ever like focus on your relaxation? Or?
I did in the beginning,
so
but honestly, I was like, peculiar. So I'm like listening, not to like the people talking. The guy named Peter comes in. Oh, Peter, it's been so long. And I'm like, what's up? And he's like, oh, I know who you are. I remember you. I was like, oh my God. So all I hear is just men voices. I have yet to see another like woman patron in this place besides myself. And so after like the massage is done, I'm like looking around the room. I was like, is there any kind of material in here that's odd for this type of play? Yes. Didn't really see anything. But when I left, there was another guy, totally separate from any other guys I'd seen, standing in line waiting. But when he looked at me, at this point, all the guys that had come in kind of like
right. Of course.
Did a double take kind of. And so the guy was like in line and I was like, okay. And mind you, all these men look like they backpack across Europe. Just giving you those vibes. Long hair, earthly colored clothes, very loud and obnoxious.
Very specific of you.
Yes.
Look at you. Did you take notes? Were
I
you
did.
writing it down?
I was fascinated because I told my mom, she's like, "Oh, I've been so uncomfortable." I was like, "No, I was having a great time because it was hilarious."
Nancy
And then
Drew.
another guy comes in and he like looks all uncomfortable. He like walks to the back. I'm like, "Why are there only men in here?" Well, I mean, look, do you? As long as my room is clean, ain't none of my business.
Very
Wait, I told you this story already.
Yes.
I'm so sorry you had to sit here again. Thanks for pretending.
It's
She's
okay.
such a good actress.
Thank you. I was shocked and surprised.
Oh
yes.
my God. And then when I left, I saw another man come out. It was just crazy. I was like, what?
It is very suspicious, though.
It is, but all the reviews, like there was plenty of women reviewers, assuming they are who they are, but I didn't see anything wrong with it. But I just thought that was super crazy. Like I've never, and maybe other people have different experiences, but the first time I went, I didn't really see any other people at all, just besides workers. So I didn't really think of anything. But that Thursday was going up. All the men were in there.
Was
and
it
me.
later than usual? Or?
I probably went in at 7:15, I think was the appointment. And so it wasn't that late. I'm like, what is going on? Maybe Thursday had a special. Girl, I don't know. Don't know.
Anyways.
But I was like, you know what? Probably not coming back.
No,
But
you
it
be
was
there.
fun though.
Be your Nancy Drew self. Go
I
back
should
in
get a
there.
discount. Give me a discount. I'll be back.
I cracked the code.
Anyway, so I just thought that was funny. If anyone cares, had nothing to do with the story, but
Not a very quiet place at
Not a
the
very-
massage
girl,
parlor.
I was listening. I was like, let me hear a little something. Maybe I get a discount. Like, what's that? I almost made a comment. I was gonna say like, oh, there's a lot of guys men in here, but I was
You
like,
didn't.
let me not
Yeah.
get taken care of. They know she knows too much. I'm like, no. Let me act oblivious. It was a wonderful time. Yes, 10 and 10.
That's how you stay
Leave
alive.
my tip and leave.
You gotta stay alive, girl.
Anyway,
so you
so-
can break the story later on the podcast.
So yes, I was like, what content? Although nothing really happened. For all I know, I'm delusional and crazy, but
That could be very possible as
there's
well.
a lot of reasons. But anyway, we're moving on because this baby's not getting any younger. And by the way, I forget, on the podcast, I have a baby in my arms.
Yes, you're
In
missing
my-
out.
Wrap. What is this officially called?
I don't know.
A baby wrap.
Yeah.
A baby burrito. Okay, but we can get started. So did you want to start off with a wonderful summary that I just know you put together?
Yes.
For the people who don't know what this movie is.
Yes. So A Quiet Place Part 2 picks back up where the first film left off. After successfully killing their first alien, the remaining Abbotts, I didn't even know what their names were. Looking it up on IMDb, I was like, oh, okay.
Honestly, you said Emmett. I said, Emmett.
Which white man was
Rings
this?
a bell.
So the remaining Abbotts venture from the familiarity of the farm and into the wild unknown with the hopes of finding a new community. Their travels lead them straight into an old friend from the past, Emmett. As the Abbotts begin to settle in, Reagan discovers a signal via the radio that may hint at more people. Here, the group splits up. Reagan and Emmett go off and follow the clues, leading them beyond the sea. Ooh. Marcus is forced to stay with his little brother as the mother, Evelyn, goes into town to stock up on supplies. Even though the family is apart, they are able to work together to defeat their own monsters. That's it.
10 out of 10.
Thank
a
you.
poem by Kate.
Who?
A poem.
Just a poem.
We just
Okay.
found it. Okay. So this is called A Quiet Place Part 2. Obviously the sequel to A Quiet Place Part 1. It released in theaters 2021, but it was originally supposed to be released in 2020.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
whatever release date or creation date you want to go with that. But they did avoid releasing it in 2020, obviously because of the pandemic. And I think it was a good choice to wait because I guess they probably could have made a deal and released it streaming wise. But
Yeah, like
they
a lot of
decided-
other ones did. Mhm.
Yes, but John Krasinski,
Yeah, sounds about right. Jim. Yeah.
Krasinski. I'm really trying to figure this out. It's not that hard. Anyway, but John did say that he thought it was a experience for the theater. And I think he did a good job because it was like the first big blockbuster movie. Would you say that's open? I know there have been movies in the
I think
theaters.
so, yeah.
But I think this is the more like traditional blockbuster that's come out ever since. So I think it was a good one to start out with. You know, coming out of a pandemic, you need a good apocalyptic horror film.
There's nothing
Absolutely.
like it, you know? It's just a cherry on top.
Yes. So Just for reviews, IMDb gives it a 7.8 out of 10. And on Rotten Tomatoes, the critics give it, it's fresh at 91%. And the audience gives it fresh at 93%. So it did pretty good with the reviews. The director and writer is John Krasinski. And he actually was the sole writer, I believe, on this one. The first one, I think he had a... Blessings.
Thank you.
The first one, I think he had a co-writer. But this one, it was pretty much... He took the reins.
That's cool.
Just a little bit about the cast. Emily Blunt plays our Evelyn Abbott. John Krasinski plays Lee Abbott. Melissa. Oh my gosh. I've literally heard this name. Millicent. I wanted to say like Maleficent, but that's not it. Millicent. But I actually really like the name.
It's an old name.
Is it an older name?
I feel like
They're
old
always
name.
coming back in style.
Yeah.
Just like the 2000s fashion trend, but that's another time.
Right, for our fashion podcast.
Yes. But she plays Reagan Abbott. I'm sorry, my contacts are blurry. I've had these in for like 6 months. Noah Jupe plays Marcus Abbott. Cillian Murphy plays Emmett. And Jaimin Hansu plays the man on the island. Guess he doesn't get a name, but he's the one that helps Emmett.
And then is stupid and it's like, we lost it. And then just gets...
We'll get to that. But yeah. That is the basic cast, are the ones that show up on the most with the time on screen. But basically a little bit about the movie. Like I said, it's Jim's more, what do you want to call it? We're going to run that back.
Yes.
Anyway.
Jim's what?
No, I called him Jim. It's John's more project that I think he kind of took on himself. The first one still was, but it seems like he really took what kind of was left from the first one and kind of really made this one his own. He said he really wasn't planning on making a second movie, but then after he kind of thought about it, he thought about just some of the questions that were brought up from the first movie and started thinking how to answer it, like how he would answer it in like a second movie. And he said he actually, and this is according to Film Is Now Movie YouTube channel, they did an interview, and he said that the first movie, he based it off, he kind of like dedicated it to his kids, I guess. Aww. It's kind of like a little like what you would do as a parent to try to ensure that your kids are safe. And the promises that parents make. And then he said the second movie is more the promises that they break, like when you can't necessarily do what you promised and how you try to recover from that and everything like that. So it was a pretty good interview. I did watch some other interviews to get information from, but I just kind of felt bad because they just asked him questions about The Office and like Jim, like it's just kind of lame. I mean, I get he's from The Office, but how exhausting. You literally came up with a really great blockbuster movie and you're ready to kind of start maybe a director writing
and literally
career.
No one cares.
And they're just like, so The Office. And he did great with the interviews. I'm sure he's kind of used to it and he seems like a really cool guy. But I did notice that they were just kind of like, so is there gonna be an Office reboot? I was like, I know you're not asking him in this you had annoying. 5 minutes with this man
and that was
to ask about this movie. And you're asking him about an Office reboot, which has already been asked before, mind you. So it's not even like a new question
But why would he have anything to do with it?
I don't know. I'm like, ask the creator, ask Steve Carell. I don't know. But I think they've already said they're not going to do it. So I'm not sure. Anyway, so I was annoyed for him because I was like, oh my God, I know he's just trying to be nice. But I know a lot of the conversations just did not really have to do with the movie. Like I even just like X'd out of it. I was like, nope, there's literally really nothing about the movie in here. But I did find the one that I mentioned. It is called A Quiet Place Part 2. John Krasinski official 2021 interview if you wanted to look it up yourself. Yeah, he says that there is maybe potentially a third one in the works. He kind of made it sound a little like, oh, maybe not. I probably think there is. Anywhere there's money to be made. Yeah. I guess I'll talk about whether or not later. I feel like I want that to happen, but
I mean, I feel like the way that it left off kind of made it seem like there's an opening for a third. Yeah. Some guy even asked about sorry, I can't remember what interview this one was. He just asked about if there'd be a series. He was like, oh, like a movie series. And he was like, oh, I didn't think about that. I'm like, no, what dumb question. You gonna make this into a random series? Anyway, sorry, maybe it wasn't a dumb question. I don't know. I just thought of all the questions. I'm like, what? Make this into a show? Oh, like
a show series. I'm like,
oh, then yeah. No. What? Can we just talk about the movie?
Let's talk about the movie. Anyway,
a show?
So I'm like, no, there's probably gonna be a third one. That's just kind of, a little back history on it. But what are your thoughts?
I think overall, I really did enjoy the second one a little bit more than the first one. I did rewatch the first one because the second time we went to go see A Quiet Place 2, I told my dad about it, that we had to go rewatch it. And he was like, oh, I've never seen the first one. So I went ahead and rented it on Amazon. And after watching the first one and watching this one, I feel like there's a big difference with how the characters act on screen. Like, I feel like the two kids, they really were able to grow better on screen. And I think the storyline, it was all right. It was a little juvenile. And I feel like some of the stuff that happened in the first movie kind of counteracts what happened in the second movie a little bit. But overall, I really did enjoy this movie a lot more than the second one. Than the first one. But what was your feelings?
I think overall I liked it. I'm trying to think if I'm going to be very honest. I think I liked the first one a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Did you rewatch it or no?
No. So honestly, this might be a complete lie because the research I did clearly was on 0. So sorry. But anyway, because I don't know. I think the first one, I think it was more of a newer storyline to me. Mm-hmm. Overall, I did like the second one. I did think, and we'll get into it, but overall, I thought it was a little cheesy in some areas. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a little predictable in other areas. So I think I did like the first one because it felt a little bit more original, obviously, because it's the OG story.
Yeah.
So I think I might give the first one still the edge, but I did still like the second one, mm-hmm. if that makes sense. But I'm interested to see, because you just recently watched the first one. So what did you notice about the first one that contradicts the second one?
Okay, so there's a whole thing with this one is that they can't swim. Right, like they're not able. That's why the island is so free. They can make as much noise as they want to. They can't swim, but they can take boats.
They can take boats in land ho.
Right. Ew. Land ho. But yeah, I feel like in the first one, there's a scene where the mom, after she just gave birth to the baby, is like in the little thing, and she wakes up and it's like flooding, and that's when the monster comes up. And there's a scene where the monster goes underwater and then later pops up in a different location. I know that doesn't technically prove that they can swim, but it seemed like in the second movie, as soon as that boy touched the water, he said, woo, started freaking out. Well, and it is also more shallow too, instead of like a whole like ocean or whatever. But it feels weird to be like, oh, they can't swim. I guess they can't swim like great distances like that, but it is kind of weird that we had like a whole, like they were underwater. Obviously they weren't freaking out in the first movie, and then this one they acted a little bit different, but that's the only thing that really contradicts it. Yeah.
I see what you're saying. So yeah, there might have been a little bit of shallow water, but I think what you're saying is the way that they were reacting to the water was a little bit more dramatic than the first one. But I guess. But it makes sense for them to not be able to go in the water. Because think about it, you get water in your ears, just terrible, and their whole face is in here. Think about it.
I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah. And they're so scrawny. It's like a little spider trying. Well, I guess there's water spiders, but like they're just like, I'm like, yeah, they really don't have like hands to move the water.
Yeah. Right.
But I see what you're saying with the first one.
I feel like that was the biggest difference. And I think like with the first one, like the kids were also kind of shallow. Like the Reagan, the daughter, was just very angsty and upset the entire time, and it was kind of annoying to watch. And like I think his name is Marcus, the little boy. Marcus. He was like very like scary and whiny and all that kind of stuff. He still is in the second movie, but I think it worked out a little bit better in this one because like their dad just passed away, and like she's over here trying to leave, and he's like, look what happened to him, bitch. Like the same thing would happen to you. So it was a little bit better to watch, I think, with the second one, with the kids. But yeah.
Yes, I thought that was good. I thought the acting was really good.
Mm-hmm, I did too.
So I did props to Millicent, and
you're the one who had it. What's his name? Like Joel?
Stop it, Kaylee. Be respectful. Literally just said it. Noah. Joel.
Oh, well, his last name is what?
Jupe?
Yeah, that's a J.
Not at all.
That's close.
Noah and Emily. I think they did a really good job. And I did like how they started with like the day one.
I did too. Yeah.
I like that. I thought that was a good wrap up. So it wasn't like your traditional like chronological order, because the first one just starts in the action. Mm-hmm. And then I like on the second one, you get a little bit of a glimpse of that first day.
Yeah. I do too.
I like that a lot.
Because honestly, if I saw that going on, I guess it's game over.
Yeah, they were like, what's that falling from the sky? And those things move. That was miles away. And all of a sudden. I know. And like it didn't even look like it had landed yet. It's going to take time. So like I was also theorizing, right, that maybe they were already there before that happened. Like maybe from another.
Well,
crash?
I think, from another crash, or like maybe they're like paratroopers and they jumped off the craft before it like landed, something like that. Because it seemed like it would happen really fast. Like they saw it happening and it hadn't landed on Earth's surface yet, and they're already there. But there was also like with the news, it seemed like there was like a bomb, which was another
from
crash
another place.
landing. Yeah. So it looks like I don't think this is like worldwide like spreading, but it does seem to happen in some particular areas, which made me kind of confused because in the first movie we're like 89 days in and there's like newspapers talking about it's sound, they're attracted to noise, blah blah blah. I'm like, who delivered newspapers in this town where there's 3 monsters?
Because if they popped up that quickly, you don't have a lot of time to do, unless some places were not as affected as others. But in this specific town, it looked like from day one everything was over.
Exactly. So I don't know who, like, we could have newspapers in other areas, but why were they delivering newspapers in this one? Listen, that's a deep cut for no reason, but
No, I know what you're saying. It's like little things here and there.
I was like, wait a minute, why are there newspapers? And that's what, like, what's his name in the movie, Lee, that's what he uses to like kind of figure out what's going on and to figure out how to like what their weakness is, because he realizes that it's sound that affects them. So it's just like I don't know.
Yeah. And I will say I was a little disappointed at because I was really excited that they found a way to defeat the monsters.
Yes.
I feel like they didn't use that as much as they really could have in this second movie. Because because it just seemed like, okay, so when they originally left, because they're going to go to the other fire to go see who's over there. And then, they pack up all their stuff, and on the way there, who ends up being Emmett, who is their previous like family friend, he has booby traps set up everywhere, so they kind of get caught up in one. And oh my god, oh goodness!
And when Marcus started running with that stuff, boy, he was zipping in.
Oh my gosh,
it was so funny,
man. They got his ankle, his calf.
Ooh.
But yeah, like, so they kind of defeated that one.
Yes.
And I was like, 10 out of 10. Like, this is what we prepared for. And I just feel like that was one of the only greater fighting moments. After that, they just kind of kept acting scared. And I was like, y'all literally have a way to kill these things. And I just felt like it like dropped off a little bit.
Yeah.
Like they were a little more helpless than they needed to be.
Well, I mean, to be fair, with like the mom and the son, they didn't have their stuff because she took it.
That's true.
So they didn't have like. She took the gun too. I was like, how are you not even gonna tell your mom that you're leaving?
Really left
and you
them
took
with
the gun.
Absolutely nothing.
And then Emmett took his gun. So I mean, there was obviously just one like pistol, but like it was kind of shady that they did that. And I mean, I feel like they did kind of like highlight what they learned, because like that was the whole purpose of her going to the island, was to show them like, hey, this is how we defeat them. And she ended up doing that so she could, kill that monster there, and her brother was able to kill the monster over there. So I think I disagree with you with that one.
Yeah, well, I'll get into that because it's kind of the end. But I guess it's only one of the things. But I liked how they traveled and they went to kind of go. I like how they expanded the environment, the movie. Yeah. They expanded the world of the movie, which is kind of what John was talking about, of how they wanted to make sure that you got more of a look. They have to venture outside of their comfortable house and they have to go out into the world. So we get to see kind of what life is like for other people. But, one thing that bothered me, why are they still not wearing shoes? Literally, they had like a close-up of Reagan's feet and she's like bleeding, and Emmett is walking around with boots like normal. And I get that they were wearing them on the property, their original property, because they had kind of like sand or whatever they put down.
Right.
But after that, I was like, you in the woods now, like y'all cannot be stepping on rocks and stuff.
Especially after old boy like stepped in bear traps. Like at that point, we started wearing shoes.
Yeah, well, I guess it missed his foot.
I mean, it wouldn't have done anything if he wore shoes.
But I feel like
yeah,
it would have been a little bit better.
But anyway,
that was my thing. I was like, why is she still not wearing shoes? I guess they're used to it. I'm sure their feet are calloused at this point. I don't know.
Yeah. It seems like that's how you're going to die in this universe then, is by infection.
Yes.
By staph infection.
I do wish that the Emmett story, I wish we got a little bit more on his background. I really wanted to feel for his character. I feel like he was a little bit more surface level than I wanted, because he had a lot to unpack. He lost his wife. I think he originally lost his son the day of. Is that right? So I feel like there's a lot going on there. And then, of course, when Marcus is dumb butt starts walking around for no reason.
Because he didn't want to watch the baby anymore. He said, shh, I'm going to go do something else.
He literally was like...
He said, I did not sign up for this. Sorry.
All they had to do was make sure the lid was closed. And just sit and chill.
Yeah.
But no, he's like, let me walk around the premises. He could take a nap. He could listen to the radio. But no. I mean, my parents were trying to say, oh, well, he might, you know, he's curious, blah, blah. I'm like, he literally has an infected foot and he needs to not walk.
You need to sit your ass down.
You need to sit down. But anyway, because when he walked around, he found the dead body that was like still there. I don't know. I just feel like there was a lot more to the story. Like I was more interested in kind of like Emmett's story and his mental state.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I feel like we didn't get a lot of that because it just kind of, because, you know, I can tell they're trying to bring in the father figure because, you know, they lost their dad. So now you have Emmett who's kind of coming in and now he's kind of the father figure, or I wouldn't say father figure, but he helps Reagan. Reagan helps him. He lost a child. She lost a dad kind of trope. Yeah. So now they're like on a journey together. I feel like it could have been a little bit better portrayed. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I just feel like it was a little rushed, or it was a little surface level. You know, she's stubborn. He came out. He kind of saved her.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to describe it, is surface level, because it's just like you see him with the drawing of his son, and then you see like the mummification of his wife, and it's just like, okay, like that was it.
Yeah, it just kind of was it. And I think it'd have been more powerful had Reagan seen it.
Yeah,
like I think if Reagan actually left and went to kind of when she's sneaking out, I think she should have seen that as she was sneaking out,
because then she'll be able to use that as like more. Yeah,
exactly. Because I just feel like because Marcus saw it, it didn't really have much to do with anything. Just because
it's just a jump scare. Well, not a
it's just like a moment.
Yeah,
like ooh, and then you know he kind of gets himself into trouble. And that causes
him to be in trouble. Yeah,
you know. So I'm like, I think it'd have been better had Reagan seen it, because then you could bring that back up later during their journey as kind of like a healing process for them both. But since it wasn't her, they never talked about it. She didn't really learn about anything about him. Yeah, he just was kind of. They're both kind of quiet and stubborn, and then they just have to kind of fight and help each other. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like that's just kind of what I was getting.
I think that's a valid point, because I feel like, I feel like this whole second one, like I feel like it wasn't really exploring a lot. Like they mentioned, like with Emmett, he was over here talking about like, oh, you know, the people now, they're not worth saving, and they're the only ones who run into those people. How come the mom didn't run into anybody when she was out there all by herself? Yeah, like I thought that was what was going to happen the first time I watched it. I thought she was going to get held up and attacked, and that's going to leave Marcus more alone than before. But no, she got there safely and soundly and then came back, and that was it. So it was a little disappointing that they didn't really expand on like the evilness of humans, because that's, I feel like, a very popular trope that happens in apocalypse movies or shows like The Walking Dead. They're like, are we the monsters? Are the zombies still the monsters? You know, because people act up in the apocalypse, as you should. But yeah, I mean, honestly, Emmett was kind of stupid for going up to that little girl who just darted out over. Like, no, I'm sorry. If she's over here crying in a little corner, let her cry. Yeah. At that point.
I thought the scene with the people by the docks was a little cheesy. I can tell. And because at this point, how many days has it been?
You asking the
maybe
wrong
like
one.
She said it was like 80 something days when the first movie started.
That was when it first started with the little kid dying, and then it went to like 474, and like now we're like following up with that.
Okay, so that's about right.
Yeah, it's been over a year since this happened.
Yeah, because they just, I mean, I guess those people have been out there for a while, because they just didn't really talk, and they were almost tribal-esque, I guess, in the way that they kind of were all unified and didn't really say anything. It was almost like they didn't, you know. But yeah, I just felt like, you know, because it did seem like they didn't really have the same communication way, because, you know, Emmett's trying to talk to them. But it just seemed a little cheesy, you know, like the little girl sitting there and then we got you, and they put the noise around him, and it's supposed to, that sounds like a terrible idea. They're lucky Emmett didn't like flail, because I'm like, weren't they going to kind of kill him anyway? I'm going to flail. We're all going to die now. Yeah. So I just seen a little, I would have liked it if they had gotten actually captured and were maybe held hostage for a little bit, and we got to see a little bit more into the evil world of people. It just was kind of like one fight scene. They kind of figure out that they can't swim and they dip. You know, like I you know, because I thought, because he was like, you don't know the people that are out there. Emmett said that earlier. So I thought, oh, we're going to get a real good insight into the psyche.
Me too, yes.
But I just felt like it was a very quick scene. It was like, oh, they're these crazy, almost, you know, they've gone mad, and they're got a little clan going, blah, 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 blah. But we didn't really see them. They didn't say anything. They kind of had like a little jump scare with the kid, and then they're in the water. And I'm like, these people who live on the water don't know that these things can't swim. It seemed like they didn't really know what was going on. They're like, they're coming. They all ran. I'm like, don't you have a better plan than
get
this?
In the water.
Y'all all came out here with no weapons. You came out with some bells and like a knife.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Y'all didn't get on a boat and leave? There were so many boats still in the port. I don't know. I was like, these people have been here for how long? And they haven't figured out all they need to do is get on a boat and dip.
That's true.
They're just waiting around and letting the little girl sit out there in the open in hopes that somebody stops by? Like, did they see them walking across the bridge?
I
And
think
like,
that's what happened. And they like
"Go,
set
Abby,
her
go."
up and she like ran around.
yeah, and she just runs around, and then they just have her sit there until they maybe show up in that exact spot.
Yeah. I thought at first that she was going to stab him or something. But no, she like literally just put a chokehold, well, I guess like the thing around his neck to make noise.
Honestly,
like,
she did this so
okay.
slow. I'd have I'm gonna push her in the water. Bye. She
hope you know how to swim.
What are you doing? He literally allowed her to bestow
really
it upon
did.
him like a lay in Hawaii. Like, what? If you don't push her off the thing and run, now we're all getting killed because you want to make so much noise splashing in the water.
Yep. Yep.
So that was the only thing. I did wish that we could get a little bit more into the crazy people because I feel like they did kind of foreshadow it. So when it happened, I'm like, oh, okay, it's kind of getting a little interesting. And then it was kind of over. So I was like, okay. Or at least if the people talked, maybe. Because maybe we
some
can
kind of like threat or something.
Yeah, or we can hear, maybe if you don't have time for a whole scene of them being kidnapped for a little bit, maybe you can at least we can see into their psyche by them talking.
Yeah.
You know, like what their thoughts are. But they didn't really have any thoughts. You're just assuming they've gone mad.
And why I just don't understand why he took her cochlear implant. Like, I don't know what he was planning on doing with it. Like, it was very weird.
It
like,
was, yeah.
He took that and then he was like, okay, bye.
He was like, haha. I'm like, of course they taking the stuff that she needs. She can't hear it. Give it back. You being rude.
I
You being
know.
really rude. There is no need for anybody else unless somebody else needs it here.
Yeah,
which
true.
I don't think so. Y'all don't talk anyway. Give it back. Give it back. Stop being rude. But, you know, they
Yeah.
got it back. They get on the boat. Of course, apparently aliens know how to drive the boat. So let me drive the boat.
They just had to follow the tide, I guess. That's really what happened.
Guess. I don't know. At the end when
It was
the
very
alien kind of wrote it.
circumstantial, yeah.
That's what I was going to say. I'm trying not to get too nitpicky because I did like the movie, but I do feel like there were moments where it was a little convenient, a little cheesy, a little like, okay, here's the alien just happened to come upon the same little island that we don't even know where this island is. You know, I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Did he drive the boat? Are these aliens intelligent? Like, did he turn on the gas? And he just,
we
you
gonna
got
follow
a map.
them.
But
Not his little like marine hand.
yeah, do they even have hands like that? Like,
I don't.
anyway, but he came on board to the little thing. I thought the people
SS
on
aliens.
the island were going to be crazy because they were like, we
Yeah.
made it. And I was like, no, they're going to die now because these people are crazy. And they're like, no, welcome, kumbaya. I'm
I
like,
know,
what?
because I feel like usually whenever like somebody like creates a safe haven, there's like, oh well, now we have to sacrifice our youngest to the alien god so they don't come
Yeah,
to
so
our
they
island.
don't eat us. That's how we've been
Yeah.
alive. And they're like, I don't think that's it. And they're like, yes,
I
that's
guess
it.
Jim doesn't really want to go that dark. I guess he was like, no, they're good people.
No, I mean, I got it. You have like the safe people.
Yeah.
Oh, because we forgot the important part is she somehow figured out the song. Girl, I would have never. Why didn't they just tell him? They're like, oh, you figured out the secret of the song. I was
I
like,
mean,
or
he
you
kind of
could've-
did.
Or no, I get that part. I'm like, y'all couldn't have just recorded saying, hey, we got an island that's like due south, north, east, west.
yeah.
Come
I see
out
what you
here and just play that on repeat. Like, no, we played it in a song, and the song is something about in the water on the island, and
Yeah, and then the radio station
You
correlates
found it
to
out.
where they are. Yeah.
you found us. I was like, okay, but you know what? It's a movie. It's Hollywood. You go with it.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
not me
true.
too, but I was like,
Yeah, they had to make it a little cryptic, I guess. They
You
said
too.
only the smart ones can come to the island.
honestly, that's smart. You want the best of the best to show up
don't be
unannounced.
showing don't tell everybody where you at.
Don't let
'cause
the
then you
dummies
gonna
roll
get
up.
those. You gonna get the crazies too.
Don't let the dummies come in. No, no.
We gonna have the smartest population here.
Yeah, you need the strong people too.
True.
Dangle some raw meat around the island. Just wait for the strongest humans to.
Okay.
Okay, so I may not have the best island.
Yeah, if you
That
over
might
here
not
dangling just raw meat, hoping that the strongest
the
men
aliens
come,
are really
right?
gonna come. Oh, can we talk about how the aliens didn't even eat anybody? They're so disrespectful.
They just kill people.
They literally just like stab, throw, smack.
They said,
smack,
"Shut the
smack."
fuck up.
They did not care. I was like, okay, are these aliens hungry? What's their drive?
They're
I don't
just
even
so
know.
yeah. They hate noise.
They literally just like they hate noise. I'm like, y'all came unannounced. And y'all are mad because y'all came here and we're loud. What is your planet? How did y'all even get on these rocks? Anyway, but I just thought it was
True.
funny because every fight scene I'm like giggling because they just smacking people around.
They really do. They like
Don't
even
even
in
eat
the first
anybody.
one.
What a
with-
waste.
Like there's like a raccoon in the first one, and like he just like grabs it and kills it, like smushes it, and like I mean like he takes it with him, but you don't see him eat anything.
Yeah,
so.
it's never really brought to your attention that they're feeding or they're hungry and they're skinny. They're so skinny. They haven't eaten in months. They're probably eating grass.
Yeah, they're
It's like
vegetarians.
they're herbivores.
They're like, we just hate noise. You're
Yeah,
just
they're
so
like,
loud.
Honestly, y'all are so annoying. We're gonna kill everything until it's silent. We're like fighting with the storms.
Right.
God, fighting the lightning. That's why I was like, wait, I don't understand the point. But I mean, that's not the point.
Right.
But I just noticed it. That was just kind of funny. But yeah, but then they got to the island and everything seemed chill. But of course, it's got to go wrong because what? Oh, I was like, they're going to go get her family? How are they going to let her know the family?
Well, she was like,
are they going back?
I mean, I think that's the plan is that they're going back, or I don't know actually. But she had like a note, like when she was talking to her brother, I think she made it sound like, I'm going to go there, just keep the radio on and you'll get a message whenever I am there.
Yeah.
So he was listening to it the entire time. And then whenever it went into the feedback, that's when he was like, oh, she made it. And then he was able to use it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is a little weird that like they couldn't have just gone together. I don't know.
Well, I guess she was trying to figure. Yeah, that was a little confusing for me because I was like, is her goal to just find it and then go bring them back help? But I feel like if you leave without saying anything, they're going to think something happened. But I get it. They're not going to let her leave. But I guess she thought she was going to do it as kind of like a redemption for her dad a little bit.
I was just like a little annoyed though. I was like, girl, how you going to hold all that shit and like kill the monster? And like, especially like what we saw, what happened, like she was struggling. She couldn't kill it. She got one shot in and then the gun jammed and she over here trying to hold all this shit, trying to kill it. I'm like, girl, you have to set the trap and do all the killing. It's too much.
And then comes Emmett.
Yeah, he saved the day for sure.
He said, coming. I'll go get her.
I'll get her, I guess. Anyways.
Yeah. And then they get to the island. It was all good. And the alien pops up and they're like, oh no. And they're like, no, everybody, no. And then the alien, and everyone's like, oh my God, we haven't seen one of these in weeks. And, they're scared and, running amok. Right. But of course, they get in with, his name is Man on the Island. We'll call him Bob because he doesn't have, I don't think, an official name, but they go tearing off. He was getting on my nerves because as soon as they got back to the radio station, he's like, I think we went too fast. He went back.
That made me so...
Which I get. I get the worry. Like, we might have gone a little fast.
Yeah.
But he literally sat there for like a minute. What do we got? I'm like, just give me the keys. You can go wherever you want. Throw the keys. And then, of course, they had the scene. So that's what I'm saying. A little predictable. I'm like, okay, he's yelling. Anytime somebody's in one spot and the camera's shaking and they're yelling and there's a lot going on, I'm like, somebody's getting snatched. And he did.
That happened. Yeah, he got dragged underneath.
He did. But it is what it is. And then the ending, when she took her sweet time with the radio, literally, she's like walking all slow. And she's like, going to put the thing on the thing to make the thing. And she was going really slow.
She was.
And Emmett was literally of no help. That's why I was so mad. I was like, it would have been great if Emmett and her kind of did together. It seemed like he was kind of going to sacrifice himself for her. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. But then that didn't happen. And then she's kind of doing it by herself. And it just seemed like a moment for her. And I was like, is this not their journey together as like a unit of like healing and, reconciliation and forgiving yourself?
Yeah, I definitely
but it just like fell off a little bit at the end there.
I feel like I kind of got the vibe more. It was like about the kids like stepping up and being more of
what kids?
What do you mean? The kids.
Emmett. I'm not Emmett. Marcus. What did Marcus do? Hold on, I gotta plug in my. Well, he killed the monster, but only after he brought it upon himself because he want to go exploring when his mom was literally hours away.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it is Reagan and Emmett's fault that whole alien followed them on the boat. So
what are you talking about? I'm talking about Marcus.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, they're equally not great.
They're all just causing their own issues.
Exactly. That monster was not on the island until after they came to the island.
That's true.
So that ain't no coincidence.
I'm so mad. I was like, there's not a more thorough check when people arrive. But then I didn't mind the end. I did think, though, that they were going to, or Reagan was going to send a signal. And I thought that the signal was going to help other people as well. I know it just kind of helped her brother. But in my mind, I was like, oh, this is going to have like a more effect of other people that are maybe playing the same station or something.
Yeah.
But no. And then it ended. And then,
I mean, who knows? Maybe in the third one, it'll be like a different family. And they were also like able to get help because of what Reagan did. But yeah, I mean, it is. I don't know. I really don't understand like her plan. Like I get like she wanted to help this island. Like, hey, like this is how you defeat them. But what? Okay. Like, I don't know. It's just like, and what's next? I don't know. It just seems a little pointless that was like her whole point of traveling to a whole other place was. But yeah, I mean, I think the ending was much more about like the kids like stepping up and growing up in that situation because like, in the first film, like their dad sacrificed himself for them to live because they were dumbasses. And like the mom stepped up and killed the monster for them. But this time they're able to step up and do their own thing that they had to do. So I think that's kind of what the ending kind of did for me a little bit. It was kind of cool. I like the parallels of like both of them going up against their own individual monsters. I thought it was very clever. But yeah, I don't know. It wasn't like the most innovative movie, and I felt very, very short. I was like, damn, it's already over. Like
it
went by really quick, and I'm not mad about it because I don't know why horror movies have to be 2 hours now. They really don't.
But this is one that I think could have been.
But I feel like this one could have. Yeah. Like, we could have had a little bit more story.
I think so too, because I thought the same thing. Usually I do not want to sit here through a 2.5 hour movie, but in the movie I was like, I feel like there's opportunity for more story here.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have minded the extra story because I think that it was still an entertaining movie, so I wasn't worried about the time, you know?
Yeah, I agree. It did go by really fast, and I could have sat there easily for another half hour. But yeah, I mean, I guess they really are just setting it up for the third one to happen, and I don't really know what they're going to do besides like rejoin the family since they're separated. But I don't know. I mean, hopefully they do something a little bit more creative with the storyline. Maybe they show more of the depravity of humankind and all this kind of stuff. So we'll see what happens if he ends up making a third one. But I do really like how they incorporate like ASL into this, and they have like a real deaf actress in it, and I really enjoy it. And I'm starting to learn ASL because I think it's really cool. And right after the movie, we went to Market Street and people were signing. I was like, wow, it's a sign.
A literal sign for you to sign.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool. But back to the movie. I mean, I give it like a solid 3.5. I think it did a really good job at what it was supposed to do. Would I go back to the movies to see it a third time? No, I think 2 times is good enough. What about you, though?
Yes, and just to say on the part of the ASL stuff, I did really like that. I liked how the contrast of like the silence of the world that she's experiencing versus the world of kind of, you know, being able to hear and the noise, and then the monsters, because it's all about trying to be quiet. It was just very interesting. And then when she couldn't really sign to Emmett, you know, they're kind of struggling a little bit, but it did make it a very interesting dynamic.
She helped me out though when she was like, enunciate, because I was like, I have no idea what he's saying.
Honestly, she probably think that every day. She's like, these people are just like speaking fast.
Yes.
Like,
and he over here like looking like this while she's right here. I'm like, boy, can you look at her? She has so much lips.
She's like, hello. But it's probably something they go through all the time that you just don't think about. But I like how they incorporated that in the movie. I like when they have characters who have something about them that is not necessarily average, but it's not their whole character.
Right.
Like I thought of her as a character. I didn't think of her as the deaf girl character. No, it was like she's a character who happened to be deaf or hard of hearing, and she had to sign to communicate. So I do like how it seemed like it was very seamless. Like it wasn't forced. It wasn't forced because I feel like a lot of things are like, look, we're so inclusive. And then they just have one character who's a one-note character who just doesn't have depth. So I like how I didn't even really notice that a part of her.
Right.
It just was like something. It's just what she does. This is what she has to do. And it was the movie. So I like how they did that. I think they did a really good job of just having an actual deaf actress. And it felt more natural that way. It's not like she had to train for months to be deaf. No, she's like, I lived this. Because they do that. They have actors and actresses who are portraying somebody with a disability or, you know, something else. And I think sometimes, not that you can't ever portray somebody who's not you. That's what acting is. But I do think sometimes I'm like, there's a ton of really great actors and actresses out there who are going to make it look very effortless and seamless, and they're not going to have training. You know, like it just want an extra step for no reason.
Yeah, honestly.
But I did like that a lot. But overall, I actually agree. I want to say maybe 3.5, maybe a 3.5. Thought it was a pretty decent movie. I did think that there were some things that maybe could have been cleaned up. I think there were parts that were a little bit cheesy, and I think there are some missed opportunities for kind of the greater storyline. But other than that, I thought it was very entertaining. I'm very proud of John. Go John. And you know what? Stop calling him Jim. He's John now. So we'll let the office stuff go.
Jim.
But I think he did a really good job. I think it's it's a nice, interesting story. Thought it was a good mix of like horror, thriller, and sci-fi. Like just a good mix. It had some, you know, jump scares in there, but it was also just interesting to see kind of like what they would come up with next. Don't know if I really want to see a third movie. My biggest issue with movies today, I feel like back in the day, movies were made to have sequels. Like Star Wars. I don't know. I'm just naming a couple. Like, you know, I just felt like nowadays it's like, oh, it's popular. Let's make another one. And I do get it. And I don't think that you should not make second and third ones just because you didn't necessarily plan on it.
Yeah.
But I do wish that sometimes they made movies with intentions of already having the second, third, and fourth. Because I feel like it just makes the story kind of more complete altogether versus kind of going, I don't know if there's another one. Okay, here it is. And I'm like, is it thought out, you know? So I don't know if I really need to see sequels of this movie. I think it's a good idea on its own. And, you know, in the future, I feel like if people are going to start making stuff, even I know not everyone really knows if they can make a second or third or fourth one, but I feel like you should always have a big scope of an idea always. Because then I feel like, kind of like what you said, not that this is a great example, but with the swimming thing, you can kind of tell sometimes that they didn't really think it through, but now they have to kind of come up with something for the next one to make it make sense now because it wasn't set up for that. So that's my only comment. So honestly, I don't really care if to see a third one. If they came out, I probably would, but I don't feel an overwhelming need to continue seeing it because I just don't feel like they're setting it up for a next one. I'm like, I couldn't imagine what I would want to see now. They might come with something good, but it's not like I said, like Star Wars, where they have like this entire
universe planned out,
and you're like, oh, I can't wait to see what happens next. No, it's just like, okay, it ended. Could end there.
It could have really ended at the first one.
Yeah, it really could have ended the first one, but that's what it was made for.
Yeah,
you know, it wasn't necessarily made for a second one. So that's my only comment. But it's not just this movie.
Yeah,
like a lot of people, is there gonna be another one? They're like, I don't know. I'm like, yeah, there's another one, and now they have to pull some out their ass, low key.
Oh shit, here we go
again. Not that that's bad. I thought it was a pretty decent sequel, but
yeah, I mean, so just to spice it up, if Jim or Lee in this movie was still alive and we had to get rid of one of the core characters,
the baby,
the baby's
not you. Not you. My bad.
So who we would get rid of? So we have Lee, Evelyn, the mom, Reagan, the daughter, and Marcus, the son. Who would we get rid of if we could bring back Lee?
Emmett.
Emmett's not part of it.
Oh, okay.
Marcus is
maybe
the
Marcus.
Son. I think Marcus is kind of useless, to be honest.
But you know, hey, he had to help save his mom.
Yeah,
he was hurt.
I agree. I think Marcus was probably the weakest link, but hopefully if they do make a third movie, hopefully he steps up now after he's killed a whole monster by himself. Hopefully now he'll
kind of get his story a little bit.
Exactly, because he was a wimp in both movies, and I was like, okay,
it's scary, girl.
Get it? Come on,
it's scary out there.
I get it's scary, but the other two doing just fine.
Yeah, that baby, he had me sick when he was going from him and the baby, and he was like,
"Oh shit!"
That baby was crying. He said, "Shh." Let me get some air.
I can't breathe.
Oh, he made me so mad. I know as soon as I seen that door, I was like, well, we're gonna have to see this later.
I know. It was really what is it? I guess like concerning. I was like, damn, is that baby really gonna die in this movie? I was like, that's pretty fucking dark. But like the meter was on E. I was like, like I don't know if they have enough oxygen.
Yeah. Well, I also feel like, okay, what was the entire purpose of that box?
To keep it quiet?
To keep them quiet. But I feel like they just kind of did it all the time. Like they're just sitting at night, the baby's not even crying, and they're like, they're literally in the vault. And I mean, I know they try to make it seem like these aliens can hear that good. But then in other areas that it seems like they can't really, like they hear good, but like when you're underground, if the baby like breathes or makes a little coughing noise, the aliens can't hear it. Yeah. I just feel like they cover that baby up the entire time. That baby does not know what the sun looks like.
It doesn't need to
at all.
Not until it can learn to be quiet. Said,
I think, yeah, but I'm like, what are you gonna do with the toddler?
They're like over here having a temper tantrum. Oh,
honestly, for the streets, for the aliens. Goodbye.
Bye, baby.
Goodbye. Yeah, I'm so sick of people having babies in the apocalypse.
I know.
I was so mad at them in the first movie.
I know.
Y'all couldn't.
I was like, pregnant.
Y'all are literally risking your whole family's life because you just can't
wrap it up.
Wrap it
up.
Or remove it quickly.
This is our safe sex corner of the podcast now.
Everybody, apocalypse sex ed 101. Don't. Yeah. Do not.
Just don't do it. It's not worth it because you're going to get pregnant and then you
stuck like
either you're going to die from childbirth or, the baby's going to be more cumbersome. So it's just like, it's not worth it.
I'm sorry. I know that the babies are always a symbol of hope, but let's be honest, that family would have been gone in like 2 days.
I mean, if they keep their hope like closed up in a box, I mean, I think that says it all.
They did. They said shh. As soon as that air runs out,
they said, "Ooh,
yikes!"
Yikes.
Imagine them running out of the little oxygen tank. They're like, "Well, we tried."
That's so
goodbye.
Dark. It's already a coffin. Just
okay. No, I'm like, what's the end game here? Because this baby not gonna be walking. That baby not gonna know how to walk. They're gonna put him on his feet. He gonna fall right over. He is not developing the muscles that he needs. Baby is not going to be a good apocalypse baby.
Okay. Anyways,
on that note,
I think that's a good note.
oh
But
my gosh.
if you want more parenting tips about having kids in the apocalypse, you can follow us on Instagram at Hayley and Kayli. We also have a website at presspodcast.com where you can catch our blogs and our podcasts. What else we have?
We also have a YouTube channel at Hayley and Kayli where you can find some more of this quality content.
Ooh.
We're going to try to start uploading videos of our podcast if you care to look at us and how pale we are.
Very pale.
Yes.
Is it summer? Who knows?
We'll find out. So yeah, catch us at the end of the summer and see if I look a little golden. Anyways, we also have a Gmail account. Very specific. We have an email account at presspodcast@gmail.com. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or if you have any thoughts about this movie or any other movies we reviewed or that we should review, you can let us know there.
We will let you know on Instagram or whatever what our next film is going to be. But catch it. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Whatever. But yes, until next time, stay pressed. Ooh, I'm sweating.
Are you really?
Yes.
Turn that AC on. Get rid of this kid. Get off of me.
We do look really pale. We look like ghosts.
This is so unbiracial of me.
Unbiracial. She's biracial.
Sorry,
Anyways,